Well, we got another week here in the Twin Cities area. This is the first week of May. It was pretty darn nice out. Today is May 7th. We got through the first week of May. We saw some ups and downs with the weather. I feel like it's a broken record. I feel like I've talked about this nonstop for months through the ice fishing season, through the spring, where it's nice, it's rainy, it's cold, it's windy, it's warm, whatever it might be. Tell you what, we got some nice weather that did pop up midweek. I got a chance to get out fishing with my mom and dad on Thursday. Beautiful, low 70s, sun, not a ton of wind, super nice. Prior to that, during the week, it was gross. It rained a bunch, climbed a bit. Water temps jumped a whole bunch, which was awesome. We needed that because at the beginning of the week, we were still in the 40s for water temp. Now we're looking at mid to upper 50s, and I'm even seeing some 60-degree stuff in some of the back channels, back little cuts, boat channels, harbors, bays, whatever it might be, chasing down these crappies. That's predominantly what we've been fishing for this entire week. I did not make a run over to Wisconsin to chase bass, so it's been all about the crappie this week. We've caught a pile of them. However, one thing I noticed, I talked to a lot of people Wednesday, Thursday that were really struggling. People are asking, Matt, I can't find these fish. And I'm referencing Minnetonka a lot on this. What's going on? What happened was the lake turned over. We saw that change Tuesday into Wednesday. You saw all the floating, nasty debris, especially on the dirty water, the west side and the north side of the lake. You saw that just gunky film, black little pieces, whatever, floating around. That really stalled the bite out. The bite got very difficult for a few days on a big portion of the lake. There were still parts of the lake firing, doing what they do. I did not find those spots on a couple of those days. Instead, we salvaged a mediocre crappie bite, tied into a lot of largemouth by accident. They were chasing the crappie baits. My dad caught a massive pike. Took him 10 minutes to land that on a crappie rod. Very entertaining to watch. Did not know how we got in the boat, but we did. And it proceeded to poop all over my Lund. Got that cleaned up. Actually, I spent a couple days fishing in the rain, so that definitely helped clean things up. The bright side of these last couple days with this inclement weather coming in is it was warm. It was 60 degrees, mid 60s on Saturday, similar today. We had some warmer weather kind of move through, so it didn't feel as bad as a week and a half ago when it was 38 in rain when I was out there with J-Man. So it was nice. We caught some fish. It was good. So this is kind of how we're catching them. You can definitely go back into these boat channels. We're talking crappies. Back into these boat channels, and you can chase down fish, and you can do this and do that. And it's an effective way to catch fish. However, what I've seen be a little more effective is to stay main lake and find that warmer water. Generally speaking, on the north end of the lake, north end of the bay, north end of a section of the lake, whatever gets that sun the most, you'll see a change in water temp. Pay attention to the surface temperature as you're driving around. And people always say, Matt, it's surface temperature. Yeah, but when you're dealing with 2, 3, 4 feet of water, surface temperature is everything. Now, if it's over 30 feet of water, I understand. But we're talking about finding these crappies in fairly shallow water. So surface temperature is relative, but it's relative in a positive way in this shallow water situation, because think about it, your boat's in the water, transducer's a foot, sometimes more in the water, and that's the depth it's reading. Well, if you're only in 4 feet, that's almost halfway down. That's more of a uniform temperature to where these fish are gonna slide in, excuse me, utilize that warmer water, and we've seen that be a very, very, very successful pattern. So we've seen a lot of these north end shorelines. We caught fish the last couple days against the bank. I mean, you'd be more effective being on shore than we were in a boat. That's how close we were catching some of these crappies. They're starting to really push up. We're starting to see some slight tint of darker color on them. Nothing straight up blacked out tuxedo or metallic yet, but it's starting to, I'm noticing a change in the last couple days. Let's put it that way. So things are starting to progress the way they should. They're starting to migrate and stage in or around or near spawning habitat. I think in the next week or so, if we keep this warmer weather, we're gonna see some crappies start to spawn. We caught a lot of females that were really plumped up. It was good to see. Let those ones go. If you are gonna eat some, you'll catch plenty of 8, 9, 10, 11-inch males mixed in with some of these fish. Could be a more appropriate one to grab for dinner if you're really hammering on them. So keep that in mind. Otherwise, that was kind of our tactic. We were looking for weeds. We were fishing main lake weed flats, big flats, looking for the edges, getting right up on top of it. That's where they're staging. And then we kind of follow them around as the day progressed and it got warmer up against more of the bank. And the beauty of it is we just fan cast rocket bobbers. Hair jigs about 2 feet down. We used hair jigs for a lot of fish. We use a 1/32 ounce drop TG with a Mr. Twister Sassy Sting 'em. That was probably our go-to bait today. We caught a lot of fish today and yesterday on that exact presentation, and that was kind of how we did it. I did pitch around a bit. I caught some fish, but in that shallower water, easier, more efficient. Throw on the rocket bobber or any bobber of your choice, slip bobber, whatever it might be, and get after it and pay attention to subtle movements. A lot of our bites, rocket bobber lays down, would pop up, right, or flip. A lot of times it would just kind of do this, and then you'd see it moving because they're in shallow water. A lot of times they just grab it and they just start to slowly swim away. They might not even pull it down. So look for anything different in movement. Learn your bobber, learn your gear, and see something that has changed, and oftentimes that's a strike. So that's how we're catching our crappies. That should be consistent this whole next week. I don't envision it changing at all. But next weekend, we have the Minnesota fishing opener. There's a lot going on. I hope the weather is nice. I haven't even looked that far ahead, to be honest. I know a lot of you are super excited to finally go out and chase walleyes, pike. The catch and release bass season opens up. There's a lot of opportunity. I know I'm probably going to be chasing bass, but also spend some time just chasing fish. And what I mean by that is I'm going to go out there and just throw either a ball head like a drop TG in a 16th or 1/8, or I'm going to use a lightweight smallie smasher from All Terrain. And I'm just putting a little paddle tail on there. This is a Sassy Grub, Mr. Twister Sassy Grub. Very efficient, small profile bait, thin wire hook. I can pitch this around cover. I can pitch it deep. I can catch walleyes with that. I can catch bass with that. I'll probably break one off on a pike. Even a crappie, if it's hungry enough, will take that. It's only about a 2.5 inch bait. You're looking at about 3 inches profile. Small, not super aggressive. I got it on a 7-foot medium light action spinning rod. I'm using a 15-pound braid for the main line, or a 10-pound braid, whatever one you have. And then I put about a 6-pound fluorocarbon leader on there. And I got my 3000 series Vanford. I can cast this thing a country mile with this 7-foot, 7'2" light action or medium light action rod. And it's a very, very fun bait to fish. It catches a pile of different species. I'm also going to be throwing probably a chatterbait for some bass. Probably going to tie into a bunch of pike. Going to be a lot of fun. Excited for that. I'm going to probably throw a wacky rig depending on the situation. And maybe up around, not quite on the docks, but just out from the docks. That immediate inside weed line usually lights up right now. However, we've caught a lot of bass the last week chasing crappies in that 7 to 10 foot range. So I may explore a little deeper than usual. I feel like we're just slightly behind schedule, but I'm gonna go in there with guns blazing and have all of my different tactics ready to go. Chatterbaits, moving baits. You know, you saw my paddle tail. I might even throw something a little bigger just to see what these fish want to do. I might even throw, oh yeah, a little smasher, minnow bait. That's caught a pile of fish for me. So that's an easy one to fish. You can chuck that around, catch just about anything that swims. So there's a variety of different things we're going to target. I'm probably not going to catch a bunch of walleyes. I'll be honest. I'll probably even hit a body of water that doesn't even have them. Don't think I'm going to hit Minnetonka. It's a zoo. God bless all of you that go out there and do it. It's outstanding. You should. But I'll be out there another time. I can go to another body of water where there's probably no walleyes, so I'll be chasing bass and pike. If you're going to do the walleye thing, live bait's fine. Slip bobber, slow Lindy rigging. Probably not going to be doing a lot of crankbait type stuff quite yet, but jig and minnow, jig and plastic, Lindy rig, something like that effect are probably going to be great ways to catch your opening day walleyes. So I'm excited. The water temp's going to peak. We're probably going to see 60 some degrees by the fishing opener, which means the crappies are going to be spawning. The bass are going to be really thinking about it or starting to, and we're going to be off and running with another great open water season. So that's what I have. You know, this week was fun. It was great. I had my birthday on Thursday. It was awesome. I got to spend a lot of time with my family, fished with my mom and dad, had a great dinner with my wife and kids. It was overall a very, very nice day and had a great weekend. I don't know who won the Ron Scherer crappie contest yesterday. I'm not exactly sure, but you know, check him out. It was on Minnesota Bound. Ron Scherer and his team put a crappie contest on yesterday. It was packed. I put a video on TikTok at Maxwell Bay at 6:20 in the morning, just nonstop caravan of boats being launched. The Fishing for Life team did a phenomenal job. They had a whole squad there at Maxwell Bay helping people launch their boats, park their trucks. Hats off to Fishing for Life. You guys do a wonderful thing. So there you have it. Let's get after it. Another great week fishing. Another great week to be outside and enjoy some outdoor activities and catch some fish. I'm excited to see how everyone does on the opener. I wish you the best of luck. Be safe.